High in the Himalayas, where snow-capped peaks pierce the sky, lies a region of breathtaking beauty and stark contrasts. Yet beneath this serene landscape, a silent conflict simmers. India and China, two Asian giants with ancient civilizations and modern ambitions, are locked in a territorial dispute with potentially global consequences. This conflict is not just a matter of geography, it is a clash of national pride and strategic interests. The border dispute is not merely about lines on a map, it's about national pride, strategic influence, and the future of Asia itself. The contested regions such as Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh hold significant strategic value for both nations. The world is watching as tensions rise and fall along the disputed border. International observers and global powers are keenly aware that any escalation could have far-reaching implications, not just for Asia, but for the entire world. Incidents like the Doklam standoff and the Galwan Valley clash serve as stark reminders of the fragility of peace. These confrontations have resulted in casualties and have brought the two nuclear-armed neighbors to the brink of war. The shadow of this conflict stretches far beyond the Himalayas, impacting trade, security, and the delicate balance of power in the region. The economic interdependence between India and China adds another layer of complexity to the dispute. Understanding the complexities of this dispute is crucial for anyone seeking to navigate the geopolitical landscape of the 21st century. The historical context, the strategic calculations, and the nationalistic fervor all play a role in shaping this ongoing conflict. This is not just an Asian issue, it's a global concern that demands attention and thoughtful analysis. The international community must engage in dialogue and diplomacy to prevent further escalation. The stakes are high, the challenge is immense, but the search for a peaceful resolution must continue. Diplomatic efforts, confidence-building measures, and mutual respect are essential for achieving lasting peace. The future of Asia, and perhaps the world, hangs in the balance. The resolution of the India-China border dispute will not only shape the destiny of these two nations, but will also influence the broader geopolitical dynamics of the 21st century. The roots of the India-China border dispute run deep, entangled in a complex web of history, colonialism, and shifting national identities. To understand the present, we must journey back in time. The seeds of conflict were sown during the British Raj as colonial cartographers drew arbitrary lines on maps, often with little regard for local realities. These lines, etched in ink and ambition, would become the legacy of independence, leaving behind a tangled knot of territorial claims. When India gained independence in 1947, it inherited these contested borders. Meanwhile, a newly assertive China, under Mao Zedong, began to assert its own territorial ambitions after 1949. The stage was set for a clash of aspirations. Disagreements over the demarcation of the 3,488-kilometer line of actual control, the de facto border, have fueled mistrust and military buildups. The ghosts of history continue to haunt the present, making the path to resolution a treacherous one. Tensions between India and China have flared up repeatedly in recent years, turning the disputed border region into a powder keg. These incidents, often sparked by seemingly minor incursions or infrastructure projects, highlight the volatile nature of the relationship. In 2017, the world watched with bated breath as Indian and Chinese troops engaged in a tense standoff at Doklam, a plateau claimed by both China and Bhutan, a close Indian ally. The standoff, lasting for 73 days, raised fears of a wider conflict and underscored the potential for miscalculation. More recently, the Galwan Valley clash of 2020 sent shockwaves through the international community. This deadly clash, the most serious in decades, resulted in casualties on both sides and shattered any illusion of a thawing relationship. These incidents, along with numerous other face-offs and transgressions, reveal a pattern of escalating tensions and a growing risk of unintended escalation. The specter of conflict looms large, demanding urgent attention from the international community. Section 4. The stakes of the game: resources, strategy, and global partnerships. The India-China border dispute is not just about territorial integrity. It's a high-stakes game with far-reaching implications for resources, strategic influence, and global alliances. This conflict has roots that go back decades, and its resolution is crucial for the stability of the entire region. The disputed region is home to vital water resources, including the Brahmaputra and Indus rivers, which are lifelines for millions of people downstream. These rivers are not just sources of water but also crucial for agriculture, industry, and daily life in both countries. Control over these resources has become a key point of contention, adding an ecological dimension to the conflict. Water scarcity is already a pressing issue in many parts of India, and any disruption in the flow of these rivers could have catastrophic consequences for the region's ecology and economy. Strategically, the Himalayas represent a critical buffer zone between the two Asian giants. The rugged terrain and high altitudes make it a natural barrier, but also a challenging battleground. Both countries view control over the high ground as essential for their national security, leading to a dangerous arms race and military buildups along the border. The harsh conditions and difficult logistics of maintaining a military presence in these areas only add to the complexity of the situation. Furthermore, the dispute has drawn in other global players, as India and China seek to strengthen their alliances and partnerships. Both nations are actively engaging with other countries to bolster their strategic positions. The United States, Russia, Japan, and other countries are watching closely, as the outcome of this rivalry will have profound consequences for the regional and global balance of power. These global powers have their own interests in the region, and their involvement adds another layer of complexity to an already intricate geopolitical puzzle. Economic factors also play a significant role in this dispute. The region is not only rich in natural resources but also strategically important for trade routes and infrastructure projects. Control over these areas could provide significant economic advantages to either country. Despite the tensions, there are also efforts to foster cultural exchanges and people-to-people interactions between India and China. These initiatives aim to build mutual understanding and reduce hostilities, highlighting the complex and multifaceted nature of the relationship between these two nations. Section 5. A knotty problem, untangling decades of mistrust and misunderstanding. Resolving the India-China border dispute is a monumental task, complicated by decades of mistrust, miscommunication, and deeply entrenched positions. Finding a way forward requires patience, diplomacy, and a willingness to look beyond historical grievances. One of the main obstacles is the lack of a shared understanding of the line of actual control, or LAC. Both sides have different interpretations of where the border lies, leading to conflicting claims and accusations of incursions. Moreover, the legacy of past conflicts, particularly the 1962 war, casts a long shadow over the relationship. The wounds of history run deep, fueling suspicion and hindering efforts at reconciliation. Adding to the complexity is the issue of nationalism. Public opinion on both sides is highly sensitive to any perceived concession or compromise, making it difficult for leaders to explore creative solutions without facing domestic backlash. Section 6. The World Watches, Global Implications of the India-China Rivalry. The India-China border dispute is not just a regional concern, it has profound global implications that extend far beyond the Himalayas. This contentious issue has been simmering for decades, with both nations laying claim to vast swaths of territory. The stakes are high and the world is keenly observing every move. The world is watching closely as the outcome of this rivalry will shape the geopolitical landscape for decades to come. The international community is aware that any significant shift in the balance of power between these two giants could have far-reaching consequences. Diplomatic channels are buzzing with discussions, and global leaders are strategizing to navigate this complex situation. One of the most immediate concerns is the impact on global trade and supply chains. The economies of India and China are deeply intertwined with the global market, and any disruption could send shockwaves through international trade. The ports, bustling with activity, are a testament to the critical role these nations play in global commerce. As the world's two largest populations and fastest-growing economies, India and China are deeply integrated into the global economy. Their markets are vibrant, and their financial districts are hubs of activity. The economic interdependence means that any conflict between them could have a domino effect, impacting economies worldwide. Any escalation of tensions could disrupt trade flows, leading to economic uncertainty and instability. Empty shelves in supermarkets and plummeting stock markets could become a common sight if the situation deteriorates. Investors are wary, and the global financial markets are on edge, anticipating the next move. Furthermore, the dispute has the potential to fuel a regional arms race, destabilizing South Asia and beyond. Both nations are showcasing their military might, with grand parades and advanced weaponry on display. The arms race is not just about numbers, but also about technological superiority, which adds another layer of complexity to the rivalry. As both countries modernize their militaries and seek strategic partnerships, the risk of miscalculation and conflict increases. The skies and seas are becoming arenas of power projection, with modern fighter jets and naval ships symbolizing the growing military capabilities of both nations. The potential for accidental clashes or deliberate confrontations is a constant threat. The rivalry also has implications for the global balance of power. Alliances are shifting, and new partnerships are being forged. Countries around the world are recalibrating their foreign policies to adapt to the changing dynamics. The diplomatic chessboard is more intricate than ever, with every move being carefully calculated. As China seeks to expand its influence, India is emerging as a counterweight, seeking to safeguard its own interests and those of its allies. China's ambitious infrastructure projects, like the Belt and Road Initiative, are met with India's strategic engagements with other nations. Both countries are vying for influence, not just in Asia, but globally. The outcome of this competition will determine the future of Asia and the shape of the international order. The stakes are monumental, and the world is holding its breath. The decisions made in the coming years will have a lasting impact, shaping the geopolitical landscape for generations to come. The rivalry between India and China is not just a bilateral issue. It is a global concern with far-reaching implications.